Hello, everybody. So this is the second session we are going to do regarding different functionalities of ProjeCtWise. So if you want, we can start right now. Well, this is in this session we will see file data management. It's a tool for collecting, manage, and view and approve file data on mobile devices. So just as a small introduction, maybe some of you already know what ProjeCtWise is. Have some of you ever worked with ProjeCtWise or know something about ProjeCtWise? You have an icon in the interface to raise your hand, or you can say something just to know if this technology is familiar for you or not. Okay, it seems that in this session somebody has worked with the tool. That's good, Diagonal, and also Bagger. That's great. So during a lot of years, ProjeCtWise has been famous because everybody uses it for doing what we call multi-organization file sharing. And this is the typical environment where everybody is using ProjeCtWise, connecting different companies for big infrastructure projects. And as I said, that has been the standard environment for ProjeCtWise. When we introduced the Connect Edition, what we have done is to increase the different areas where we can use ProjeCtWise. So we added mobile applications. We also added what we call deliverables management, which includes transmittals, submittals, and requests for information. We did a session about that, I think, 4 weeks ago. We introduced issue resolution. And inside of issue resolution, we will talk about file data management. That is the functionality where we will pay our attention today. And we also have what we call the performance dashboards. That is the possibility to have a different dashboards that will explain you the situation of your project, how many documents you have in a different state, how your transmittals and submittals are working, etc. The idea is that to satisfy all the needs related with a big infrastructure projects, you have to cover this kind of requirements. You need to coordinate the deliverables, you need to create PDFs, you need to review your design and do transmittals, etc., and also deal with issues resolution and taking information on the field. With ProjeCtWise, you can satisfy all these requirements, and you don't have to spend money and time trying to coordinate different solutions that don't talk perfectly one with each other. So with ProjeCtWise, you will have a single source of truth. You have a real common data environment that covers all that areas inside of infrastructure projects. So the idea is that ProjeCtWise becomes a real common data environment where the designing team or the stakeholder of the infrastructure and the construction team work together in the same environment, sharing the same information in the right moment, and without the need of making different tools to try to make them collaborate and spend a lot of time with developments, etc. So once we have introduced the idea, let's talk about file data management. What's the idea behind file data management? There are a lot of information that is still being done on paper in our infrastructure projects, and having information in paper is always risky. The idea is that we offer a solution that brings all your paper forms, all your to-do list, or your safety inspections, etc., into a common environment that is ProjeCtWise. So the data collection and submission of the information can be almost real-time if you have internet connection, but it is possible to do it even if you don't have internet connection, because in the field not every time you are connected to the internet. The idea is that you will be able to identify your potential issues and react to that issues fast, and not waiting for a whole and long process to take place and to finish. Usually, the common workflow is to go with paper on the field, fill that information, bring it to the office, scan it or digitalize it, then upload that to a server where somebody will look for that information. And then if you see something that is wrong, or you see something that can be a potential issue, then you will react and do something. The problem is that maybe this can be done too late. So we need to speed this kind of process. And here is where file data management can help you with that process. Because the idea is that we will create a digital form that you are able to customize and create your own forms according to your needs and to your projects. You will manage those forms on the field, but you will also be able to manage them in the office with our cloud services, even knowing where those forms will fill it, or where that information was done. Okay. The idea is that now it's very fast to take your decision based on the information you took on the field. Who is involved in this process? For sure, the project manager that will set the requirements and will verify that the workflows of approval, etc., are correctly done. And for sure, they also will consume the data created and will analyze all the information that we stored in our systems. Also, the project leader, who will know the requirements and will help to define how those forms will be used, and will take care that the technology is enough for running it. We're talking about the mobile devices for sure, and also the people who is working in the file that will be at the end the ones that will use the tool day by day. So they will have access to those mobile devices and will have all the data in their platforms. So they don't need to take care about the paper, recollecting them, etc. And so let's now that we more or less understand what's the concept of file data management, let's see how the tool works. There are two major parts involved in this. For sure, we have the cloud service. That is where the users will define their forms, and here is where all the data is collected and where everything is managed at the end. This is done with our cloud services, and nowadays all of them is based on Microsoft Azure. And the other important thing here will be the mobile devices that will be the primary interface to collect the data. So which one is the first step? The first thing we're going to do is to define the project and add the users that are involved in that project. So this is our I don't know if you are familiar with it, or if it is the first time you see this interface, but this is where all Bentley users can access their cloud functionalities. It's connect.bentley.com. I have already logged in the site, and then the first thing I want to do is to go to my projects and try to create a new project. So under the project-wise projects tab, here we have all the different options, download software, etc. But here in project-wise project, I have all the projects in which one I am involved. So clicking on the arrows, I see the different projects, and here I have a list of all the cloud project connected projects in which I work in. So I will click on register a new project. I have to, in order to create a project, I just need to provide a number and a name and identify the asset, etc. But in this case, I will use a project that is already created. I am the only one. As you can see in team members, I'm the only one who is working in that project. You see, this is exactly the same form we see earlier. And I save the settings for the project. And the first thing we need to do is to invite more users to this project. So I go to Manage Members, and here I will add the users who will use this functionality. So I click on Add Users. I will search the user by email. All of them has been previously registered in our cloud services. So I add my colleague Eva, my colleague Francisco, and I will also add to my colleague Marisol. So once I have added the user, it's possible to use a CSV file in order to add them if we are talking about a huge amount of users. Then I assign a role for all of them. So I will assign the role of engineer, and I click to add users. When you do this, all the users will receive an email saying that they have been added to a new project. So now the project is created, and the users has been included into the project. So what's the next step? Now we are going to configure our forms. So we go to the project, to the root folder of the project, and then I click under File Data Management. We see the users. Now I'm not the only one. So I click under File Data Management. And here's the interface where everything will be managed. The first thing we will have to do is to create the information. We see that there are no categories, there are no forms, everything is empty at the beginning. So we click in the GR icon, go to Design Forms, and here is where the, let's say, administrator part of the process starts. There are some templates. We will talk about those templates later, but let's see how we can start from scratch. So if I click on Create Form, as I have no categories allows you to classify your form. So you have every category have a different number of forms inside of it. So the first thing is to create the category. I will check that category that is created successfully, as I can see, and now I add the specific name for my form. So I will call it security checklist, and then I click create. Okay, so I have my form, but obviously the form is empty. This is the interface where you can customize your form. The idea is simple. In the left, you have the different items you can place, and you just have to drag and drop the item to the form. Once you place the item in the form, you will have to customize the behavior of that form. Usually, only the first thing you do is to set the label for that control. In this case is security checklist for my project. And then we will continue adding more objects to this form. Typically, a user list. The user list allows you to choose from the list of users already added to our site. So we can define if it has a label or not. In this case, I decided that it will have a label on the left. The form has different ways of defining the layout. In this case, I choose an automatic layout that will try to put the labels on the left and the text on the right automatically. That usually works very good in every different device. I will add another label because here the protection material will start, and then I add, for example, a combo box. A drop-down list is the same. So I call it, for example, I will verify if the protection helmets were on site or not. Now I click on the list and I add the different items of the list. So as we can see, it's very easy to customize how the different items works. And I will add also a non-applicable. Click Save. It's possible to import from a CSV if I have a lot of different possibilities for those items. And just with a drag and drop, I place the items in the desired way in the form. This is just an example about how you can use it. For example, we can add also a data picker or a timestamp to collect hours or to collect dates. I will set the label. And for example, a text area. Usually we use text areas to create, to enter big descriptions, etc. We can also add images if we want to add a logo, etc. We drag and drop the image control and then click in the item, in the image we want to upload. If you have already uploaded some image, they will appear in the list, or you can upload your own images in that moment. I will remove it just with a right click and choosing delete. We have the possibility to upload information, usually photos that we take while we are filling the information. And will also be very useful to have checks, icons, check items that allows you to say or yes or no to any kind of information. So okay, different possibilities about that. Once we have configured our form, the idea is to save it. So we click under Save. Now the form has been saved, and we can take a look about how it will appear in different devices. So in this case, it's a large tablet. Okay, I close the preview, and then I decide that it's fine. So I click Save, and I go back to the form manager. As we can see, this form is in draft state. We will talk about these later. And there is also the possibility to use a template. So in this case, I'm going to reuse the safety checklist template. It's a template already created with several options. So I click Import so that that template will be available in my project. So you can see there is a new category with a new form called Safety Checklist. If I click on Edit just to take a look, we'll see that, okay, it's a much bigger form than the one I tried to create earlier. So we have a lot of options here. We have text areas, status, dates, etc. So we will use this as it is. I will only change the title, for example, in order to just to verify that I am using the right one. And that's all. So I click on Save, and we will use this form for the rest of the presentation. If I want to change the name of a category, I just click on it and change the name. So I will change it. And if I want to remove it, I just click on Delete. I am deleting the old form. And now I'm going to rename the category. Instead of safety, it will be safety forms. So everything is very easy to customize. And now that my form has been created and knowing that the category has the right name, etc., we can continue seeing how we can use those forms. So let's see how it works. So here we are exactly in the same place where we finished in the previous video. Now we go back again to the main area of the project, and I go again to File Data Management. And the idea is to create a new item. So I choose the category, but if I go to the actions and I click to and I go to create form, it says that there is no possibility of use a new form. Why? Because our forms are in draft state and nobody will be able to use a form unless it is approved. So we need to go to the design forms, look for the form that the administrator wants that the user start to use, and move it to approve. Now that it's approved is when our field workers will be able to use that forms that the administrator has created. So now if I click actions and create form, now it's possible to choose the safety checklist form and fill all the data. As we can see, we are able to fill the data from the from the website. We will just see how it looks, and we will enter some information, the date, the location, for example, and we will choose a user for observer and some of the different drop-down list icons, and I save the changes. Now I see that I have one, we will see that we have one item in the list. So I close. By default, the form created is assigned to the user who created. So we see that we have one open, one in total, and one is assigned to me. Here is where I decide what to do with the form. So I will choose another one. Okay. And what's the idea? The idea is that, okay, we have seen how it works when we are using the website, but the real environment where we are going to use our forms is on the field. So what we see here is my iPad, okay, and we will show you how this information can be used in the field. So this will work with iOS and also for Android, obviously for Windows 10, because it's the same interface at the end as a normal computer. In this case, it's iOS. So this is a ProjectWise H, and the first thing we need to do is to connect to the right project. So I go to the project. We see that here is the BPG4 project. That is the same we were using in the other part of the demo. In case it's not the same, I just click on search, and you can activate the correct project. So I go to forms, then I go to the safety checklist forms, and I set that form to be one of the favorites. It will guarantee that the form will work even with no internet connection. So I am able to enter data in the iPad even without internet. Everything will be cached locally, and later I will be able to upload that information to the cloud. So I will just put some information in this form using my tablet. Okay. As you can see, the interface is responsive, so it looks good in different formats. It's appeared okay in the web, and it's looking good in the tablet. We will see this later in an iPhone. So I fill everything. and see if you need to enter comments. The keyboard appears automatically. That's easy, and I can change. I can set the state. In the upper part is the save button. I will fill a couple of forms. This one will be. I will fill this one faster because we see that more or less the idea is the same. I set the date, set on server, and son of the list, just to have some information. As I said, this is what the user will do on the field with a mobile device. And the idea is to save all those forms in the mobile device. As I said, no internet connection is needed to do this if the form was marked as a favorite. Okay, so I click Save. And now I go to Review Forms. Here I see that I have two forms that has not been, you see that it's still in draft. So these are the two forms that I have just filled, and it says that online this project has only one form, the one I created earlier in the web. So what we do when we have access to internet is this to synchronize the data we took on the field. So we click on the upload icon, and now the information goes to the cloud. So now I don't have nothing on draft, and I have three forms online for this project. If I go back to the office, or if I look at the manager site and I click F5 to update the portal, we see now that here we have the different information that the user took, and a new icon that locates those forms on the field. So here I see where exactly the two records took place, and I can click on them and go directly to the information. So the information is geolocated all the time. I see there are three open, three are assigned to me because I have done everything, okay? And I am able to see that as a list or as a map to really know where everything was done. If the list is too big, in this case it's not so big, we have the possibility to filter according to different values or to customize the information that I see in the list because we are able to export this information to Excel in order to analyze better what we have here. If I go to details, you see here I have exactly all the information that the user took on the field. And I here have the audit trail that show me every different step that was done in our form. If the user with the mobile device took a photo, I am able to see that photo under attachments and review that photo. I'll go back to details, review the information, and close the form. As all the forms are assigned to me, I see that I have three opened forms. And let's see how I can, it's possible to assign those forms to another user. So I'm going to change this document to approve it, for example. And then I will close this item because it's done. So now one is closed, three in total, and two are assigned to me. This is the aspect that the program has in another mobile device. In this case, it's an iPhone. It's my iPhone, and as you see, the interface for ProjectWise H is exactly the same. And I am able to fill information again in this mobile device without any difference with the rest of the mobile devices, an iPad, the web, etc. I will fill one last record. I'm not going to fill everything, don't worry. Okay. I don't know why it it has the video. Stop it. Wait a second. Okay. Now it works. Here is where I am able to add an attachment. Just clicking the plus sign. I am able to use the gallery or take a photo in that moment. And here is how I synchronize the field from this mobile device, the file from this mobile device. So nothing on draft and everything is online. If I go back to the portal and click F5, I will see the new record. So we will have 4 in total. Here we are. I see again that both are in the same area. And that's all. Okay. So let's see how this is integrated with ProjectWise, because that's the idea. I have seen everything working in the cloud services. We have seen how it works in the mobile devices. And now we are going to see how this information integrates with our common data environment with ProjectWise. So let's see how that works. If we take a look on the last item of the list, we see that there is a column called ProjectWise link. Right now it's empty, but if I go back to my mobile device, I am going to access my common data environment with a ProjectWise Edge. So I browse the different hierarchy of folders of my common data environment. And when I go to the 3D model of the architectural area, I have the possibility of complete a form directly from here. Maybe I saw something in the models that were not fine, etc. So I fill that from here. I fill the information. It's supposed that this information is related with the information stored in that folder. I will not fill the rest. Now I have to do again the same. I need to upload this information to the cloud. So I go back again to the forms dialog. Here is the form I have just created. So I will upload that to the cloud. Now there is nothing on draft and 6 different fields filled. And now if I upgrade the environment, I will see that the ProjectWise link column has information. This is a link that if you click on it, it will open your ProjectWise client and will point you to the folder where the issue, where the data was took, and I will see exactly in that folder the information of the forms that were filled. So I have to enter my user and password. Okay, now it goes to that folder. That takes always some time. And here I am. And you see that I have a project forms tab that if I click on them, I see the information of the fields that were filled in that folder. So I have a clear relation between the information took on the field and the information stored in our common data environment. So here I have the details, etc. So that's all. It was all. That was all the presentation. We have seen all the different functionalities that this feature of ProjectWise has. And if you have any question, just let me know. I will try to solve. Okay, I see the question. The first question we have is how to link the form to a BIM model into Navigator Connect Edition. If file data management is focused on taking data on the field, okay, is something different from what we call issue resolution. That is what you are talking about, Diana. So if you want to assign an issue to an element, to a beam object in your 3D model, you will use not. I will move the video to the beginning. Instead of using file data management, you will have to use issue resolution. When we start here in the project, we see that in the lower part we have different. Let me move a little bit to the front, okay? So here, under the Connect portal, we have the different functionalities on the cloud. We have talked about file data management, and the one to assign information to a model is issue resolution. This one it works more or less the same, but in this case you assign the information you describe to an item in your model. Next question is, can the form routed to a predefined reviewer? Now, in this moment, it's not possible to. The second question is, can the form routed to a predefined reviewer personnel automatically? It is not possible to do this in this moment, but right now we are putting a lot of effort developing these functionalities on the cloud, and it's something that is in our mind to do. So maybe in the future, it's something that will be possible to be done. Can you compare ProjectWise and BIM 360? I'm not an expert for sure in BIM 360. I try to be an expert in ProjectWise, okay? But it should be something we have to do more in detail, okay? Because for sure we will be better in some things and they will be better in other things. So it depends a lot on what your requirements are. One product will be better or the other. Our main characteristic is that we are not only focusing on in our own products. So there are a lot of users that run ProjectWise as the common data environment and use Revit or EcoSim or Civil 3D in top of that. But I cannot tell you in which is one better or worse. Okay. The next question. How should I incorporate the data captured in the form with the BIM model? In our case, if you want to include the information you have captured in the field in our BIM model, we have the possibility to include that in the iModel. I don't know if you are familiar with the iModel concept. The iModel is an open format that Bentley created that allows you to store any kind of graphical information and also any kind of data. It's possible to create a model from Revit, from EcoSim, from Civil 3D. There are different platforms that create models. And we have a tool called iModel Composer that allows you to add information that is stored in Excel, for example, to that BIM model. So the idea is we need some kind of ID to link the information. But if we have an ID in that form that exists in an element in the BIM model, iModel Composer will link that information from the information exported to Excel to the BIM model. The next question is, okay, if you know iModels, then it's perfect. It is possible to customize the dashboard. We have not talked about performance dashboards right now, but as far as I know, the dashboards are predefined. So the information that appears, it's increasing day by day, but the diagrams or the different graphs that appear are fixed. You only choose which one you want to see. And the last question. Yeah, the last question is, how does the iModel link it with the field data capture in this tool? This is a process that is not done on this tool. Okay, the idea is that the workflow would be you capture the information with file data management, you export from file data management that information to an Excel file, and from an Excel file using iModel Composer, you link that information to the iModel. That would be the workflow right now. So it's the only way of doing it right now. And to do that, we need that the fields that you are filling with this tool have the ID of some of the BIM elements in your iModel. So we will look for IDs in the Excel and IDs in the 3D model, and the tool will link automatically that information, enriching the 3D model. Next question. Is the dashboard showing the progress of file data forms? Yes, in the dashboards, you can review how is evolving this process, but I don't have any information right now to show you here. But yes, under dashboard, you have information related to transmittals, submittals, request for information, issue resolution, and field data management. There's a question about if it is possible to connect with IoT this kind of information. I'm not familiar with somebody who has already done this, but as far as I know, if this information can be exported to an Excel file, and that Excel file could be consumed from any other system. So maybe if you need to do something with this information, that will be the easiest way. But to tell you the truth, I've never done that, never do anything with these kind of things. Can you send me some safety form that you export from your project wise by email, please? Okay, send an email to us. My email is Benito.Perez. I will say to you, I will show you I'm going to show you my email if you need more information. 1 second. I will put it on the screen. Okay, so this is my email, benito.perez@bentley.com. So if you need more information, just send me an email there and I will try to do my best. How does it work offline to access the form without internet connection while logging into Connect user? Yes, good question, Dianal. For sure, you need to log in to the project when you have internet connection. Okay, so it's supposed that the user is in the office. The user will open the mobile device and will choose the active project. Then with the active project, he needs to check as a favorite the forms he is going to use, and then he goes to the field. Now you don't need internet connection in that moment because you are already signed as a connected user and you have already choose your project. Then you go to the infrastructure, do whatever, and when you come back, you can upload that information to the system. But at the beginning, you need internet connection to download the form and to choose for sure the correct project. Yes, more questions? Yes, it is a prerequisite, Dianal. You must be logging. The user must be already logged in the ProjectWise Edge tool and needs to choose the project in which he will work. More questions? It is good to have such kind of questions. I see that you are a good user of ProjectWise and our connected projects because you know a lot about the solution, don't you? So more questions? Great. The application cost, it depends a lot. For example, if you are an already, Bargak is asking what's the application cost. If you are an existing Bentley user, for example, if you already have a MicroStation seat, or you have a Power Civil seat or Open Roads Designer, any of our designing tools, it is possible for you to use, let's suppose you have 5 licenses of MicroStation, then 5 users can use this functionality. So every, let's say, desktop user is a cloud user in Bentley. The only thing you will not be able to run is the integration with ProjectWise, because you don't have ProjectWise, okay? But you can manage the file collected in the data in our cloud without any cost. The idea is that if you have 5 designing seats, then you have 5 different logins available in the cloud. As you know, to run our products right now, you need to run the connection client. In the connection client, you have to enter a user and an email address. That email address is the email address we use to identify if you already have or not a designing tool in your desktop. Daniel, it was great to try to answer. More questions?
Benito, well, I would like to thank you again for being here with us, and also would like to thank the audience for tuning in and for engaging with the questions. Make sure to stay informed for our next webinars, and see you soon.
Okay,
Bye.
thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you everybody for your time. Bye.